Hello everybody and welcome. Today I want to have a little bit of a conversation and talk about if we think Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater deserves to be nominated at the 2025 Game Awards, which are right around the corner. So yeah, I want to have a little bit of a discussion and do a little bit of research on whether or not we believe Delta Snake Eater deserves to be nominated for any category at the Jeff Keighley Game Awards. First, we need to address the big fat crocodile in the room. Konami and the Game Awards have a bit of a rocky history. The Game Awards frontman, Jeff Keighley, called out Konami at one of his previous Game Awards for not allowing Hideo Kojima to attend said Game Awards when Metal Gear Solid 5 was nominated and won Best Action Adventure and Score and Music. Since then, Konami games have made appearances at the Game Awards. For example, Silent Hill 2 Remake got nominated for multiple different categories, but it's also no secret that Jeff Keighley considers Hideo Kojima a very close friend and a vital part to his Game Awards shows, having Hideo make an appearance at almost every single show every year. Any resentment that Hideo holds towards Konami, Jeff Keighley might reciprocate those feelings. Regardless, Jeff has not outright banned or shunned Konami from the Game Awards. It just seems that Konami have not been releasing any games that are worthy of any awards, except a couple here or there. It seems like Jeff is an honest businessman, and he will allow Konami the honor of being nominated if they deserve it. Next, we can address the second big fat crocodile in the room. Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater is a video game remake. Do remakes even deserve to be nominated for a game award? This is a complicated question. Video game remakes vary in style with how much creative freedom is taken compared to the original game they're taking inspiration from. First, we can take a look at some of the most recent critically acclaimed and fan favorite remakes and how they fared at the Game Awards. Silent Hill 2 from Konami was nominated for Best Narrative, Best Score, and Best Music, Audio Design, and Action Adventure. I don't believe they won anything though. Demon's Souls from a few years ago for the PS5 did not get nominated for a single award, which really surprised me. Maybe it's because it's a remake and they didn't change enough. But then we have a game like Final Fantasy VII Remake, and it was nominated for Best Art Direction, Best Game Narrative, Best Game Direction, a Game of the Year, Role-Playing, and Best Score and Soundtrack. And then it won the award for Best Role-Playing Game and Best Score. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth was nominated for Game of the Year, Game Direction, Narrative, Best Music and Score, and Best RPG. And they won Score and Soundtrack. I believe Final Fantasy VII was nominated and won some awards because they took the original game as inspiration and made a whole different new experience. It's basically not even, it's basically a brand new game, Final Fantasy VII Remake. Shadow of the Colossus seems to not have been nominated for anything. Once again, maybe it's because they didn't change enough compared to the original game. Resident Evil 2 Remake was nominated for Best Action Adventure, Game of the Year, Best Audio Design, Best Game Direction, and it was a huge hit with fans and critics. Everyone loved this game, but it didn't win anything. Resident Evil 3 Remake was nominated for Best Audio Design, and it still did not win anything. Resident Evil 4 Remake, the big kahuna himself, one of the best video games of all time. This was nominated for Best Action Adventure Game, Best Audio Design, Game of the Year, and Most Anticipated Game. Unfortunately, it didn't win anything. Once again, it's a real shame that none of the Resident Evil remakes actually won anything. They have plenty of nominations, but it's just nuts they didn't win anything, especially in Resident Evil 4. That's like one of the best, that's one of my favorite video games of all time. Once again, maybe they didn't change enough compared to the original. I know these remakes are really similar to the originals, but they're definitely a different and new experience. But maybe they just didn't change enough. Tony Hawk 1 and 2 Remake, it won Best Sports Game. Yeah. Cool, sure. Last of Us PS5 Remake or Remaster, whatever you want to call it, it was not nominated for a single award. Maybe because it wasn't different enough, it didn't change enough. Dead Space Remake was nominated for Best Audio Design. It didn't win anything. I don't like horror games, so I'm not very familiar with Dead Space, but I saw a lot of people and critics online loved the remake. And then this Gears of War remake that was just released this year, is that going to get nominated for anything? I don't know, you tell me. Is Tony Hawk 3 and 4 Remake going to get nominated for anything this year? I don't know. Elder Scrolls 4 Remaster? I guess we just have to wait and see. The remakes are prevalent in the Game Awards. They don't seem to win a lot of these awards for a variety of different reasons, probably. They get nominated quite a bit, but not a whole lot of actual winning. At the end of the day, a remake is not an original idea. Personally, Resident Evil 4 was my favorite video game for 2023, but it is undeniable that Baldur's Gate 3 took the world by storm and it had gamers enamored. Everyone freaking loved that game, so yeah, I understand. From what I've seen, the more creative freedoms that are taken with a remake, that means it gets more of a consideration and more nominations. The more the remake distances itself from the original, that's usually a good sign that it might get more nominations or more awards. Now the question is Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater distinct enough to be considered its own game and its own experience, separate from the original? Can this game be nominated and stand on its own as a standalone title? Personally, as a die-hard fan who's been playing the original for 20 years and I've played that game over 100 times, I think yes, because I notice a lot of the more smaller details that are changed, and it's a lot bigger of a difference compared to probably the most casual gamer out there who doesn't play a lot of Metal Gear, and they're like, oh, it's not different enough. So, I don't know. I think personally, yes, it's different enough, but your casual, everyday gamer who's not like, or your casual Metal Gear fan may not notice all these big differences, and it may not be a big enough difference to be considered its own experience. I don't know. But if we take a look at it, Delta Snake Eater takes a lot of inspiration and gameplay mechanics from Metal Gear Solid 5, which came out maybe about 10 years ago. The movement system is updated compared to the original Snake Eater, the gun, combat, and shooting is completely overhauled, the CQC is updated with new animations and new movements, boss fights are tweaked a little bit to meet your more modern boss fight expectations, and of course, the graphics are completely redone in Unreal Engine 5 to give the game a more realistic look. A lot of the character designs are pretty different compared to the original, but still a little similar. Eva looks completely different compared to her original 2004 Eva. Ocelot looks more similar to his future self, and he resembles more of his father in Delta Snake Eater. He looks pretty different in the remake as well. And just overall, there's just a lot of quality of life improvements that are added to the game to make the game a more modern experience and give it a more modern feel. So, I think personally the game is different and changed enough to be its own experience. I am a die-hard fan of the original, so like I said, a lot of these small changes, they're a lot of a bigger deal in my eyes compared to probably other gamers out there. But like I said, I don't think the broader gaming audience, who's not like a huge fan of Metal Gear, will notice enough changes. To a general audience, maybe Delta is too faithful to the original, so it may not stand out on its own. And honestly, I get it. I understand. And this will probably hurt Delta's chances of getting nominated for any awards. I personally think it should be nominated for at least 1 or 2 awards, but I won't be surprised if Delta Snake Eater gets totally snubbed. It doesn't get nominated for anything. But I still think it deserves to be nominated. I don't know the backstory to other remakes that make big overhauls, like Resident Evil 4 or Final Fantasy 7. I don't know why the devs made the creative decision to make the remake so different or change a lot more and have a lot more creative freedom compared to the original. I don't know. But I do know Metal Gear Solid 3 did not need a big overhaul or a brand new big expansion. This is where Konami had to balance a very thin line in the development process. The original creative director of Metal Gear, Hideo Kojima, is no longer with the company of Konami. Konami had to make sure they did not alter his original vision when they were remaking Snake Eater. Konami had to keep as true to the original version as possible and keep the game as faithful as possible, alright? They did not want to piss off fans. Their goal, their vision, was to make the game as faithful as possible. Metal Gear fans are just a different breed compared to other franchises or other titles. We love our Metal Gear just the way it is, and we consider Metal Gear games to be sacred texts. Don't you dare consider making any big changes, alright? I'm a little more open-minded compared to other hardcore Metal Gear fans out there. I'm a little open-minded. I'm okay with some changes and some more creative freedoms. I'm okay with that, but others, don't you dare. So Konami had a big decision to make. Overhaul the game design to make it appeal to a wider gaming audience, or appeal to the original fans and keep it as faithful as possible. And you know what? Konami made the correct decision. They kept the game as faithful as possible. It is a very faithful remake. It's just updated with some modern tweaks and some modern gameplay designs to meet your gaming standards in 2025. I believe Delta Snake Eater is changed and updated enough for a new experience, but that's just me, and I understand other gamers may not feel that way. So now we need to look at what can Delta Snake Eater even be nominated for. We need to look at all the different categories. I believe Best Score and Best Music is probably our most realistic award nomination. They did release a brand new version of the Snake Eater theme song. The original theme song is an iconic theme song amongst fans and gamers alike, and the original vocalist, Cynthia Harrell, came back to re-record the lyrics. The instrumentals also are new and updated. It all just sounds amazing. I believe the new recording sounds great and it deserves to be nominated. Now, even though Delta is my favorite video game of 2025, I do not think there is any chance at all it's going to get nominated for 2025 Game of the Year. There were just way too many great original ideas this year that deserve nominations compared to a remake. Here are my predictions for Game of the Year. Death Stranding 2 will probably be the winner because Hideo Kojima didn't get the award from his original Death Stranding, and I'm pretty sure Jeff Keighley wants to give him an award for Death Stranding 2. And, you know, I've played a couple dozen hours of Death Stranding 2, and I really like it. It's not my favorite game of all time, but it's a good game. I like it. Kingdom Come 2, Silk Song, Expedition 33, Hades 2, Split Fiction, and Silent Hill F. Let me know if there is anything else I missed. Oh, and also maybe Dispatch. Maybe the category of Best Game Direction we can get a nomination. I mean, the direction that Konami took was stay as faithful to the original as possible and do not change anything about Hideo Kojima's original work and vision. I mean, just that alone, that Konami stayed as faithful as possible, and they kept Hideo Kojima's original game as sacred as possible. I believe they respected the original game, and I think that might deserve a nomination for Best Game Direction. I don't know. You let me know. Best Narrative can be a possible category for a nomination, but the thing is, the narrative was written 20 years ago. And this was, I don't know, a 20-year-old story. They didn't change anything about the story, so I don't think this will be a nomination, but maybe. Art Direction, I'm not too sure. The visuals in Delta Snake Eater are very, very, very pretty and very realistic. They're almost photoreal sometimes with the Unreal Engine 5. The foliage, the vegetation, the mountain areas, the wild animals, the character models, and the character faces, everything looks fantastic. The freaking cutscenes, man, all great. But the art direction isn't really inspired, you know? It's not really like inspiring me art-wise, you know? It's not making me feel anything. It's, ooh, it looks so good, it looks so pretty, it looks so realistic, but I don't know. I love how it looks, it's just, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? It doesn't deserve art direction, I'm pretty sure. Best audio design, I can see getting a nomination for Delta Snake Eater. I mean, all the old audio, voice lines, and sound effects, they're all still here, but they're all enhanced and upgraded compared to the original. You really do feel like you're crawling around trying to survive in a freaking jungle with all the thick vegetation and all the wildlife around you. The audio just makes you feel like you're just in it and the world is so alive. And just the ASMR sound effects of Ocelot spinning his revolvers, that deserves an award on its own, alright? Action and action adventure are two separate categories, and Delta Snake Eater might get nominated for at least one of them. I mean, yeah, Delta Snake Eater is a stealth game, but you encounter a lot of action-packed boss fights and a lot of action scenarios. The game encourages using stealth mechanics if you want, but you can really just go balls to the walls, crazy action. You can go total Rambo style on these suckers. With all the CQC and all the gunplay, all the action is updated compared to the original. The action has never been better in a Metal Gear game. Somehow Snake survives this crazy ass adventure. So you know what? I believe he does deserve to be nominated for action adventure. Give Snake his nomination. Snake deserves better. I truly believe Delta's best chances on receiving any nomination It's probably best score and soundtrack, and maybe best action adventure. Will Delta receive any nominations? Or just the fact that it's too faithful of a remake and it did not make enough creative decisions, this is going to hold it back from getting any nominations? You let me know. I really wish with the 2025 Jeff Keighley Game Awards, they had a best remake remaster category. The only thing is, every single year, you never know how many remakes or remasters are going to come out, and you never know, are they actually going to be good or not? So I don't think it's a consistent enough category to have every single year. But come on, we had some great remasters and remakes this year. Best remake or remaster, yeah, I'm pretty sure Delta Snake Eater would win. If you want to know more about my opinions and my thoughts about Delta Snake Eater, go ahead and check out my channel. I posted a full 30-minute review with my thoughts, and I also posted a video with some of my complaints. And yes, I realize I am very biased. This is my favorite video game of all time. Getting a remake, of course I'm gonna be biased. Of course I'm gonna say, oh, Delta Snake Eater deserves to be nominated for at least one thing, boo-hoo. But you know what? In the larger picture, it really doesn't matter. I'm just happy that this video game even exists. The fact that Delta Snake Eater is a video game that is on my PS5 and Xbox, that's just a dream come true, man. I'm just happy we're here to begin with. But maybe Konami deserves some recognition for their work. Just maybe. Let me know what you think. Let me know if there are any actual possible categories. Our best chance of Snake Eater getting a nomination. Let me know. And do you even watch the Jeff Keighley Game Awards? What do you think about them? I watch them every year just for the, the showmanship of it and all the game announcements and everything. I mean, the only time I've been upset with the Game of the Year winner, I think, was God of War, because Red Dead Redemption 2 really did deserve to win. Oh, and of course, I watch the Game Awards every single year for Flute Guy. I love Flute Guy. Flute Guy is the best freaking musician ever. I love him. He's amazing. Flute Guy, hell yeah. You never know what he's going to do every single year. Thank you. I hope you're doing well. Stay safe. Play some video games. And goodbye.